gets me to thinking, like, where do they take it? Well,
Yeah.
it's a difficult spot to be in.
It is very difficult. I guess one of the lights at the end of the tunnel for Big is the fact that this is a rematch in the grand scheme of things, right? These teams played just about 12 days ago in Rio. So maybe there has been something, wisdom gained from the losses that they had there to Fnatic, and they can actually do something with that. Gabi is known to kind of make use of information.
And that, actually, it is kind of like when you go into an approach and it worked the last time, will you change it? So it might be that Fnatic are stuck in this kind of like false sense of security with their prep.
And when we are looking at this Fnatic, right? Yesterday, Mezzi stepped up beyond belief. But I want to just ask you guys around this game against Astralis. First map looks great. They win Mirage. Then we come to the overpass. It goes to overtime. It was the pick of Fnatic's. How do we view that in like, are they in a good spot on this? Because we spoke about the 16-1 against Outsiders. We said we would ignore it. But I'm now still got some question marks because it's
I'll say that overpass was probably the best map Astralis had the entire tournament. Yeah. Even though they ended up
even
losing.
Against the Ends one?
Yeah, no, honestly, I think there's a way higher quality of play, especially with their T-sides, etc. We actually saw them kind of taking a bit of a new approach.
They lost the first half 8-7.
Yeah, and still managed
to... which is great on overpass.
Yeah, and they still managed to bring it into an OT, which is pretty incredible. I thought the game would be over the instant Fnatic managed to get 5 T rounds, but obviously, Astralis proved they're strong, and then did it in kind of a bit of an unorthodox way, in the sense that they would get into mid-round situations. Usually you'll see T-sides being fairly active about how they move around on the map, but you'd actually have instances where Astralis literally just sit still. Yeah. Might not necessarily be grouped up as a complete unit. You might have one guy over towards A, towards underpass, and the remaining outside of either short water or B, but they would literally just completely still. And eventually, Fnatic would be like, well, we need information, and that'll eventually get punished. So we'll see, again, if Fnatic will learn something of that, but I think this is a well-played game from Astralis more than anything.
Okay, so some positives still in there for Fnatic and also some positives for Astralis with it. But I also want to find out from Nikodos how he's feeling, and hopefully we can get an answer to how he expects to deal with not going up against an AWPer and how Big have been very prepared for this.
Hey, we really had an opportunity to talk to Go B, but right now I have Nikodos from Fnatic. Nikodos, soon you're going to play on the big stage against Big. Are you excited?
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. Both teams are a bit of a disadvantage right now. They're missing their AWP and we're missing one of our most experienced players. And now we're going to play on a big stage, so it's going to be a fun game.
Well, both teams have academy team players, so which is maybe like a nice surprise, like just to see like the young guns like getting some experience. But I do want to address the fact like that Searson is not here. Did Big change the way how they play in any way?
I mean, sort of. They have to compensate in some ways, right? Like you see other players picking up their AWP, taps in Keto, but we haven't really put that much thought into it. We're still going to focus a lot on ourselves, play our own game, because we beat Big the last time pretty comfortably, and we're just going to keep up the same, and I think we're going to beat them again.
Well, you are the sniper of your team, and I wonder, is it in any way like maybe like hard for you, or maybe like this more like discomfortable, like just like that you will not know who is going to hold like the AWP or the scouting the enemy team?
Nah, if anything, it's going to be more comfortable for me because now I know for sure that I'm going to be the best AWPer on the server, so I'm going to be pretty confident, and I'm going to see what stuff I can exploit and take advantage of it.
All right, then looking forward to seeing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Strong words coming out from Nikodos. I do love that for sure, but I will say the other AWPers that have tried this against Big have all struggled.
Yeah, they have struggled significantly. But again, you got to appreciate the confidence. Again, I think they need that. They should have that considering the last meeting in Rio, so I have no problems with Nikodos feeling good about himself.
No, but it could be a full sense of security. I do have to say that. Yes, I mean, they definitely should be playing their own game, but I think that Big, they're always...
No one says play your own game. I'm done with this. Players need to stop saying that.
But I do think that Big, they are a kind of team that if you're going for that play our own game, they can abuse that. Yeah.
Devil walk. You can tell you're a coach here as well, right? Because this is the worst thing. As someone who does interviews, we play our own game. No, you have more than that to do to it all.
I've probably said it 200 times myself.
Yes, to me.
Yes.
You definitely have done that. But I think we should get ourselves into position to see these teams, right? I think all the fans in the arena and everyone watching at home wants to see our teams take to the stage and get us closer to this grand final.
Ladies, gentlemen, everyone in this arena and watching from home, for the final time, welcome back to the ESPOO Metro Arena. My name is Parla, and I am still your stage host. And everybody, this is the grand final of the ELISA Masters ESPOO 2022. Let's go over the facts. The winner of this grand final will be leaving with the lion's share of $200,000 and a spot, a much coveted spot at the IEM Katowice 2023 play-in. So much is on the line, but what is money and what is a spot like that if at the event you win, you don't get a trophy? So that's what's next. And before we bring it out, let's have a quick chat. Counter-Strike is a game with a 2-decade history. There's almost nothing like Counter-Strike. It was not built overnight. All of you here, everything that you see on this stage, it took blood, sweat, and tears over a very long time. And lucky for us, there are still people with us now that have been there from the very start. Ladies, gentlemen, everyone in this arena and at home, I want you to raise the roof for our trophy bearer. He is, as I've said before, one of the longest serving veterans of this scene, one of the true legends of Counter-Strike, the founder of the premier Finnish esports organization of ENS. Make some noise for Joona Naatu Leponen! Naatu, first things first, what's it been like for you to see over the past few days an event transpire like this in your home country?
It's been amazing, first of all. It's been great to see so many people, such a great atmosphere. You know, Finnish guys here, all of you, everyone's showcasing that Finland is a Counter-Strike country. So you can applaud yourself for that, for sure. We got to make sure that we also keep the noise here in the finals too. I think it's going to be an amazing game, so keep it up.
Naatu, as I said in my introduction, you've been in Counter-Strike since the very beginning. How has it been like over the course of Counter-Strike history to not only see it develop, but be a part, crucially, of the development yourself?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to think of the fact that 20 years ago we were playing in bomb shelters, in school gymnasiums. We were not cheered for, we were laughed at, and now, you know, look at us, we're here. You know, it's pretty cool, right? So, yeah, it's amazing to see how everything's been getting bigger.
Naatu, I do not think that there could be a better trophy bearer in ESPOO, in Finland, than yourself. If there is anything that you'd like to say to the fans at home, and of course, our wonderful Finnish audience here in the ESPOO Metro Arena, now is the time.
Mä haluan vaan sanoa kaikille iso kiitos, että olette tullut tänne. Kaikki, jotka ovat täällä viikonlopun tai tänään tai jo yhtenä päivänä, mutta joka tapauksessa olette tullut tänne. Se merkitsee kaikille täällä tosi paljon ja se on se tapa, millä tätä hommaa viedään täällä eteenpäin. Joten iso käsi kaikille, hienoa, makeeta!
Everyone, give it up for the legend of the game, the Finnish icon of Jorna Natu Lapanen. Thank you so much, brother. You can exit the stage. That's a man myself and many of us, I think, look up to, and for good reason. Now the stage has truly been set. Everybody in here, are you ready for a grand final? Introducing our first competitors here on the stage. They are, as I have referred to them before, the best that Germany has to offer. They are a team that sticks together no matter what. When some of them could run off to international rosters, no, they stay together. They are a nation within themselves, and they are as big as they can get. Give it up for Big! That is amazing. We even have some roaring bears, some of Big's ultras in the crowd. Once again, everybody, give it up for Big! And now, their opponents. Everybody, this organization is one of the longest serving to esports and not just Counter-Strike. This organization has a legacy not just in CSGO, but is in esports as a whole. As of recent, however, they haven't managed to get the results that they once did. That being said, over the course of the last year, or the better part of a year, we're starting to see glimmers of hope once again. Perhaps I'm a bit biased because they're led by a Brit, but this is an international roster that is stacked to the brim with talent. And today in this grand final, they want to find the glory that this organization once had. Give it up for Fnatic! Amazing, we have our two grand finalists on the stage. We're gonna grab Fasha from Fnatic and Gobby, the coach of Big. I can address my first question to both of you. Last time you played, it was at the Rio Major. Fnatic came out on top 2-0. How does that matchup factor into this one, Gobby, or does it not at all?
It is definitely, we want revenge, and yeah, no better place to be in the final to get revenge.
Fasha, revenge on Gobby and Big's mind. Do you see this matchup playing out like the last one? Are you ready for differences?
Yeah, I think we're better now because we have Pepsor. I mean, I don't nothing more to say, right? He's a legend, so.
A new legend.
Yeah, new legend.
A legend in the making. Pepsor, some pressure on your shoulders, mate. Gobby, I have to ask you, what's it been like over the last couple of days, seeing this crowd, being here in Finland? I think the atmosphere has been incredible.
To be honest, I just wanted to have a best of 5 to play longer in front of the crowd. But yeah, unfortunately, it's just best of 3. But I guess we take all the time and enjoy it when we are here.
Best of 5 next time, Finland? And Fasha, what about yourself? How has it been to be here in Finland and be in front of this crowd?
Yeah, it feels amazing. I mean, the crowd is really supportive and really amazing. So I love you guys and keep cheering for us.
Let's go, Fnatic. Let's go, Fnatic. Let's go, Fnatic! All right, if there's anything else that you would like to say, now is the time to do it. God B, starting with you.
Let's have all fun together and enjoy the final.
Fasha?
Yeah, let's hope for a great grand final, and yeah, hope you cheer for us all.
All right, gentlemen, shake your hands. Everybody in here and watching from home, this is the grand final. The winner goes home with this trophy. This is the ELISA Masters ESPOO 2022.
And there we have it. The teams are ready on the stage. Natu coming through and delivering that beautiful trophy. But now we need to find out who's going to be able to take it home at the end of today. Some of the things mentioned, right, the fact they played in Rio not so long ago. But I love that they're saying, Pepsol, new legend, you know, young legend, let's go for it.
Yeah, I mean, just prop him full of all the confidence you can,
Yeah.
right? You're going to need him in the finals as well, right? We've seen that Fnatic have been pretty heavily reliant on being a team that functioning, that has everybody kind of showing up when asked upon, right? So we need more of the kind of semifinals performances.
And we need to see our veto. We need to see how this one is going to go down. We know the Big have more recently been picking into this nuke throughout the tournament here.
Yeah.
How do you expect us to see things go down this time?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge advantage, obviously, for Fnatic. They have their Dust 2 veto, which is a great map for Big.
Yep.
We see the permaban coming out from Big on Ancient. I'd expect something along the lines of a Mirage pick from Big, maybe an overpass Fnatic, and maybe a nuke third. That's where I'm headed. They could throw a curveball from Big, maybe to a Vertigo, but it's a huge risk.
Yeah, again, everything that Big can kind of swing around with in this veto feels like a massive risk. So it does feel like, well, okay.
Yeah,
well,
we
we do get it. And to be fair, considering what happened in Rio, considering the fact that their Mirage has been okay, it's been serviceable, why not? Like, why not? What do you have to really lose from this? And again, I think that might actually catch Fnatic off in terms of what they expected for the veto as well.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about it. They kind of already did that kind of, you know, they threw in that nuke and they played that different style that kind of caught them off guard. Ooh, they actually don't want that nuke on Fnatic Infernal. So a very different veto than I thought there was going to be. So it's going to be an interesting one.
So they're mixing things up. They've got stand-ins to mix it up as well. Who do you think comes out on top of this after this veto, though?
Oh, I still favor Fnatic like quite heavily in the veto, no matter how it went. It all depends really on what Big can bring out on that first map for us to see.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit worried about it because, again, playing without Searson, that's going to obviously make your, I guess, movement, especially on the CT side, a little bit more limited. Usually you see the operas over towards the bomb side having a fun time, being able to lock that area down for themselves. And now it's more going to rely on Keto, Sin, to actually maintain control over ramp. And I think they might have a harder time than what they've had. But, you know, we're not going to write them off again. In Rio, obviously with Searson, he wasn't necessarily the big player for them in a lot of those matches. Keto did a fantastic job on A-Ramp versus Furia, and that was enough to win. So, you know, they obviously can't play Vertigo to a very solid level, but still siding with Fnatic after seeing the veto.
Well, it's nearly time to get into these things, and I know you guys always bring out the key points. So how much has it changed for these two teams when it comes to a grand final matchup?
Our first point is basically that Fnatic has a massive veto advantage, and we saw them go into this huge risk pick of Vertigo for Big, and we're going to see if it's going to pay off, but it's a scary situation.
I like the risk taking. That's perfectly fine. I don't think Big had anything to lose by trying Vertigo. Again, if they'd gone to Mirage, that's pretty common ground for both of these sides. They know each other well enough to the point where, yeah, maybe you're not like in form or you don't have, I guess, the individual skill level on your side in this matchup. So I don't mind it that much. For a second point, well, it kind of goes to a little bit what we were saying just now. No weak links. And that's Fnatic. They've had all 5 players. We saw it in the semifinals. One of the reasons why they pulled through versus Astralis on Overpass is because you had production from 1 through 5. And Mezzi,
I think there was a 3 or 4 kills difference between the bottom and the top player on the server.
Nice.
So,
and I mean, Mezzi, who had the weakest group stage out of the 5 players on Fnatic, he basically bumped up his rating by 0.11 just by that semifinal. So, you know, everybody's ready to go.
Finally.
And we have the final one, which is the keto effect. I think I touched upon it a little bit earlier. I think he's grown as a player a lot in this past year. He plays with a lot more maturity. He seems to be a leader behind them there. He's pumping everyone up. And, you know, if he can bring the firepower with Tabs and Faven, I think they have a chance.
But if they do have a chance, when it comes to it, what is going to be the X factor on both sides? Which players are you looking at best there, boys?
I mean, I'm going to initially think about Tabson, which you can't really escape it if you're talking about big. You have to talk about Tabson. I think Roy is a fair pick for Fnatic again. These are the two best rated players throughout the tournament for their respective sides. And I think we've kind of gotten to the point where we were running out of positive words to say about Tabson. But he deserves them all. And he's a massive, massive component as to why we do have a big with stand-ins in the grand finals.
All right, well, let's see it go down. We're ready to get into our first map of the grand final. And we're ready for the awesome commentators that deliver the action all weekend long. It's Jay and Dwayne.
Thank you so much, Banks and the boys on the desk. And thank you, ESPOO, for turning out in your masses for the grand finals today between Fnatic and Big. We expected one of these teams to certainly be here in the Fnatic side, Dwayne. And I think as a result, they're probably our favourites in our best of three today.
I've got to imagine so. I was thoroughly impressed with the way that they played yesterday. Knowing that you've got a 2-0, knowing that it went down with that sort of way, with Mezzi's increased performance, Fnatic are going to be hungry to get the victory today.
Indeed they are. They mentioned that on the desk as well. 5 unique units, 5 potential star players for the Fnatic side, any of which could pop off. Pepzor was one of the guys yesterday, backed up by Mezzi. Roy's been having a stellar tournament. So many big things for the Fnatic side, maybe little things for Big though.
And you've got to think, for Pepzor, think about his structure. The idea that he's here as a standard. He's coming into this event, he's playing the anchor roles on the CT side, and he had an impeccable series in that semi. And because of that, I'm looking at the youngster and I'm thinking, mate, he's thriving with the crowd. He's thriving on the stage. This is his chance to do it in the finals.
Seen a number of youngsters come up and be the bigger elements for their squads as a result. And over the course of this tournament, not just in this grand final, you can look at so many prospects that are coming out of the woodwork and being stars on the grand stage. But it's only one team that will take the title, take the Katowice spot, and take the grand prize of the trophy. Dwayne, any thoughts and ideas of how Big can do this here?
I think for Big, it's going to have to be the tactical edge. It's going to have to be the minds of your Godby and your Tabson to work together to give themselves the excellent utility. I'm thinking about maybe little bonuses, little averages, maybe a little bit of surprises. Happy birthday in for Roy. This could be the best birthday gift of all.
Oh yeah, to lift that trophy, take it home with you. We can wrap it up in a little bow and everything. I think we've got some wrapping paper backstage. So we will sort that out for you if you can win the grand finals today. For Fnatic, is there any major pressure that might get to them today?
The pressure could be that they haven't been in this situation in a while, Jay.
Well, here we go. ESPOO, I have one question for you. Atletico Valmic! It seems like we're ready for our grand finals. It's Vertigo to kick things off between Big and Fnatic. Fnatic on that CT side as we get into the pistol round.
Now, Fnatic, they've struggled in pistols, Jay. 4 wins and 10 losses so far in the event. But this time it's the grand final. Can things change?
We'll see whether it can. Glocks leaning forward. Keto looking for that contact, wrapping around from the alley position. Try and take that first contact. Big are super passive on this A side.
You can just see the way that now with Big gaining that ramp control, allowing themselves, even Sin, to get the smoke down to the right-hand side. This is going to have to be a heavy retake setup from Fnatic.
Smokes on the main cross, Fasher and Mezzi forming up to try hold the defensive. Backup is a little bit further away. The taps are coming through blind against Tabson though. They've done some damage. The HGs are at the ready, but the counter Molotovs are also in play.
And that's going to try and break the setup ever further back, allow those HGs to not go off just yet. And now for Big, it's about getting into those post-party positions and wasting time with the bomb down.
And just those taps on Tabson for the time being the main damage being done to Big. Mezzi, again, trying to take point. They've yet to reveal their hand here, Fnatic.
It all comes down to that crane smoker out towards the alley in position. Give themselves the coverage to get back onto the bomb.
It's a perfect smoke for it as well. Mezzi making his way up, trying to get in the that smoke onto the defuse perhaps. He's tapped it. He's stuck here. Keto, 1 kill. Nothing else coming through. Mezzi's still on the bomb and he's held it together for Fnatic as they sneak it out to start this matchup against Big.
And it's Mezzi, it's the IGL and the captain of the team to make it happen. I like what they do there. Rather than just getting the crane smoke down and allowing themselves to fight back towards ramp, they realize where that bomb's planted for and it changes. They put that smoke onto the bomb and it's just distraction. It's as many players in there from Fnatic as possible just to start taking duels where Mezzi sticks the whole thing.
Everyone sacrificed themselves to get their IGL in with the win, and Fnatic will reap the rewards for that. Starting things off with the opening round of the finals and bringing up the bye, but also followed suit from Big. They got the bomb plant.
They just allow themselves to put that pressure back on in the second. Nikodos trying to see if he can find some impact with their scout out to 51.
His eyes are set on past that smoke, trying to spot anybody here. But so far, so little has been found. Fnatic playing behind the smokes just as much as Big are here.
And Fnatic have got a good track record in the last 3 months on Vertigo. 5 wins and only a single loss. They'll be looking to turn that into 6.
Round of the corner slowly for Crimbo. Nikodos is going to get tagged up. Still yet to find an early kill here, just like it was in the pistol round. Pepzor might look to try and change that, engaging with the SMG, but up against those rifles, he's at a disadvantage.
HE placement comes in close. Crimbo's hoping for a slight overextension. Can even smoke down towards the right-hand side of mid, allow more map territory to get gained. But while that's happening, you've still got the bomb trying to tail towards the bottom of the forklift and up here to the ramp control.
Big indecisive where they're going to go here, but they are forming up towards that A hit once again. It's only the scout to defend initially, but one more player in Roy back on the bomb side.
Now for Fnatic, because they've got the spotter set up for that scout, they can allow themselves to be very back passive. Now get an idea of what's going on.
M4 burst from Roy, not quite connecting, but there you go. His second kill of the game, finding Tabson, looking around for a whole lot more. That Tech 9 getting picked up next to them. The 5-on-3 will gain ourselves for the CT forces. It's all going the way of Roy. The birthday boy getting everything that he finds. Looking for the ace and he'll land it. Pepzor got one to close out the last game in the semi-finals. And this time the opening picked up by the Dane.
And while he might be the oldest player here in the grand final, Jay, he's proven that he can hang with the youngsters. Roy has had an incredible event so far, the 6th highest rated player, 7 maps played and averages a 1.20 rating. He's also just one of those guys that can change an entire complexion of a game.
For Fnatic, change what was a high pressure sort of round there, Big, threw themselves entirely at that site. And got nothing for it, no save weapons, no bomb plants, it's basic pistols, a deco sure, but no Kevlar and only one flashbang to work with.
And this for Fnatic is just building bonus, allow themselves to come in with a fairly easy 3rd round, not take many casualties at all, and look to strengthen come the next rifle rounds.
Tabson picked up first by Roy, Nikodos taking swing face. Crimbo's Deagle catches him with his head turned away. So 4-on-4 being gained.
You can see the way that Fasha's coming in quickly with the re-assistance, even some util going down towards those sandbags is going to drive Fnatic a little bit further forward into the crossfires of Crimbo.
Stop them from getting in towards alley position, the Deagle trying to take face for him. Positions up, 60 seconds to play with. Fasha holding his nerve back at Sniper's Nest, does spot one, spray does a ton of damage to Sin, but not quite able to find the kill.
Now check out the way that Fnatic aren't really overextending here at all, being very back passive on the defensive hold. They've even got a 3rd player of that for Mars to be the next linchpin from the elevators angle.
Flashes to continue suppression here. Roy does find Keto, reducing Big to only 3 players. Fasha finally gets involved, finishing off the job against Sin. Farben falling all the same, and Crimbo left alone in the 1-on-4. Trying to look for any sort of exit, do some sort of damage here, Dwayne, but I don't think that's going to come through.
It doesn't seem like it at all. Fnatic looking rock solid in the first few rounds of the game. And Crimbo up against the Crane player towards the left-hand side. Pepzor's going to drop him. And one thing that I remember back to that game yesterday, the one between Big and Sprout, think back to Mirage and the start that we saw coming through from Big, the way that they were able to capitalize so many rounds in a row. This time around, it's actually them on the back foot.
So 3-0 start for Fnatic, pistol and conversions being found. And now the gun round comes in, or does it? Big opting to go for Mac-10s here, and Galil's moneyline not quite lining up in the first few.
A Big wanting to get as much out of the full bonus of cash as possible, so look to go in with that Mac-10. It's going to be very quick in for a split in mid.
Sin and Tabson straight up. Tabson will go falling first, but Sin catches Fasha trying to escape. That's now an AK on the T side to work with.
It seems like they want to try and slow it down. Even Roy to be back out towards the elevator, sees exactly what's going on. Incendiary down, he still gets the safety.
AWP and Nikodos can strike. Sin has fallen. 4-on-3 still for Fnatic, but they've traded places with the T-side line. Keto finally gets that AWPer, and Farman swings around the corner to drop them now to 2 players on Fnatic, get that bomb down and all.
To beat them with pace. What an excellent round this has been so far from Big. Now you've got Mezzi and Cove, him and Pepzor to try and work together. There's still an aggressive sightline coming through from Keto. It's all about breaking this setup apart.
Slow but sure, they creep their way forward, trying to find a pick to even up the man standing. And Mezzi can't do it against Farben. Pepzor suddenly alone, 1-on-3. Fragged up by Keto. And that's their first on the board of Big.
And what a steal that is from Big. And they look at that round, don't invest all the way down, but give themselves the MAC-10, some upgraded rifles here and there. And I think they'll be very happy about that. You could just see the way that Roy was caught off guard, trying to reposition, get off back passive towards the alley entrance. Even Nikodos with the AWP just tries his best to hold that establishing crossfire. But Keto and Farfan put the damage forward.
SMG's doing their work. Money gained, of course, big on the true buy here. Fnatic to reinvest with the rifles that they can gain out. Still an SMG for Roy in this one. He's charging very far forward as well in towards the alley position. Tarps undetected as of right now by the big side. They're also passive.
And this makes a lot of sense when you consider the buy state. Mezzi already getting that first pick. They don't know about Roy just yet.
Pre-firing general positions in the behind smoke angles. Roy does catch Keto ahead. One small gap there between the Tarps and the smoke itself. And a 5-on-3 has been gained by Fnatic. Tabson is trying to hunt down Fasher, but he's unsuccessful. Drops the bomb for it, and the CTs are taking full control.
Oh, the AWP goes down, and Roy might just have to keep fighting him and Fasher to establish the crossfire. And nothing that Big could do off of the back of that one. And how frustrating must that be from the Germans? You come through with a half buy, you come through with a steal, you set yourself up for the next rifle round to get that reset, and instead, it doesn't go your way.
Very efficient stuff there from Fnatic to be able to dismantle. The SMG doing so much work there for Roy. Grabbed the AWP as well for Nikodos, so not really having to reinvest into that weapon. And Big taking early tactical. They've been so liberal with these tacticals over the course of the tournament so far. Understandably so. God B, as per usual, looking to try and get his team G'd up to win their first international LAN final for almost 3 years.
It's been a very long time, Jay. And you can just feel how much it would mean for both.
We saw a little bit of the Fnatic fan base, but we know that Big's own fans can be loud. They're out here in force tonight, giving them a little bit more energy. Fnatic, however, using their composure to defeat all obstacles. 3 rounds in the lead for now, and Big do have a buyback here, so we will see the AKs across 4 players.
Yeah, we saw Fnatic playing Vertigo against Saw in the group stage, being tested to a double OT. They managed 9 rounds on that CT side. They're already up 4-1. And Tabson playing behind the util here towards the ramp control. Notice the way that Fnatic are changing their defaults on the CT side. We get the aggressive maneuvers towards ramp in previous rounds. This time around it's out towards mid, but Nikodos just gets caught by the flash.
That flash perfect from Sin. You could see him trying to adjust, trying to read where Crimbo was, but overcooked it, allowing that kill to go the way of the T side despite being a massive window for the shot to ring out. Roy does get the trade back on Keto, though. It is a 4-on-4 scenario. Even standings for the time being. It's careful placement back in that mid position.
And Mezzi just trying to spam down out towards the B side just in case there's a follow-up lurk. And even up towards the tight. You can see Roy just slightly overextending towards the brigade. Ends up falling. Fasher then just gets caught by Tabson as well.
Oh, he's picking them all up. Looking towards the outside to hold his nerve, hold his position, and Fnatic are just backing out of here. Bomb down, nothing Fnatic can do.
And this for Big is now the opportunity to take more weapons out of the round. Look at Farfan. They keep progressing him. He should at least drop one more.
Could be a chance to get one exit for Mezzi. They'll upgrade to that AK-47. Appropriate time to do so. Get a little bit more firepower going in the next round for Fnatic. They have a little bit of money basis to potentially drop, but the loss bonus being so low does not mean it's going to be an easy buyback.
And we could be going back and forth for a few rounds here. That swing of momentum, breaking both teams' economies. And we always know it's going to be a little bit rougher, more of a challenge when you're on the CT side, if that's the case.
Second up. Big going to establish themselves now in this game. Found their start. Now looking to try equalize against Fnatic, especially again with that shaky buy potential, the AWP and AK staying in. But there's just such little money in the savings account. Fnatic will take a tactical as a result.
Have a chat with Keita, try and gain some of his experience in this sort of context. Tabson, man. He's a beast, isn't he?
Really into this one, aren't they? God B making the most of his time to talk to his team, as he always likes to do. Very emotional coach, very involved man. And for Big, again, this is their primary opportunity. This is their main stance to get into this matchup and take a lead back from Fnatic. They are going to force the issue here. They are going to get the M4s back in. The drop weapons can come through. We're seeing an AWP, we're seeing 3 M4s, we're seeing 1 AK for Fnatic. And Big could reset them now.
First time in the last 3 months that Vertigo has actually been picked in a best-of-3 series from Big. We've seen it previously in other invitationals. If we see this, though, Farfan run boost over, doesn't quite catch the timing.
Used to be quite a popular tactic to take in the early games for the T side, been lesser so in recent times. Doesn't quite lean towards a kill or even damage against Fnatic here. Big established themselves at stairs, at least. It's a little something for them.
I do wonder when Fnatic are going to be a little bit more reactive out here towards the B side, start taking some map control away, getting aggressive down towards the stairs. We haven't seen much when it comes to info plays outside of the ramp control. Very passive, very cautious here from Big.
AWP and Nikados happy to play to that caution, sitting back at the alley control, having Roy with smoke at the ready. Flashes will come in, will drive that AWP back. Incendiary smoke combination, going to try to suppress vision. The AWP will still hold its nerve. Roy sees one. Cinders get caught, though. Close range from Fasher, the same as Nikados starts fragging away with a 3K. Not quite the Quadra, but Fasher and Roy are there to clean up the last two. It's all on Crimbo and a 1-on-4. And there's Roy with his pick. Big backhanded back into reality.
And there might be some question marks on who's going to be AWPing for Big, but there's no question for Fnatic. We know it's Nikados and we know his strength. Out there towards the top of the tarps, just being able to reface, re-peek, react to so much impact. And then, of course, the rifle is just helping him out. Roy with the distraction, Fashion appeared down from the smoke. Excellent sequence there from Fnatic.
What a responsive as well. Letting that AWP be the only thing that falls. I think they also saved it into this round as well, so Nikados no need to worry about getting that gun back in. It's Crimbo. Mid-control to be challenged. Pepzor thinking there might be someone behind the Molotov, but so far so little in terms of contact. He will back away.
And this has been 5 rounds in a row now, back and forth between the two sides. Who's going to start getting a streak? Who's going to be able to break it? Crimbo with the boost up does not spot anything out at Guardian.
Unawares of how close he was to seeing Pepzor, though. Pixels away from either player taking contact. That AK's hunting for him. Molotov set, Fasher shoulder baiting, does swing back. Pepzor is at least in for a trade, and Sin is low HP.
And Pepzor might try and rephrase. Even Mezzi being out here towards quad, drops that bomb at white.
Massive frag for them, taps into full. Needs a second, that's what he'll get as well. Tech 9 to face an AK and all. Pepzor still fragging, back towards mid. Sin will drop it, Quito is not far behind him. Fnatic extending their lead even more so. Big. It was a very good start there towards mid, but they just couldn't follow it up.
I think back to the ELISA Invitational summer of 2021, being invited into the quarterfinals for Big. They actually punish-picked Vertigo against the likes of Skade, and it came back to bite them. Now, you look at this context, Jay. Think about what happened against 500, pick Nuke. Against Sprout, pick Nuke. You come into the grand final, and you pick Vertigo.
Trying to go for a curveball here on the Big side. Fnatic are dealing with it pretty nicely at that. Of course, couldn't get Dust 2. You know Fnatic are going to remove that in the first wave of the ban, so that's that big strong suit for Big that will not be allowed. 4 rounds to the good. Fnatic in control. Nikados is AWP, standing ready to receive them. They'll make their way in. The shot will connect to a tag, not the kill.
He's going to double dip back in, try and see for a little bit more. Might have to end up backing off here. Put more pressure down with the util. Already some rotates coming through. Fasher on the way.
Roy just sitting here. Nikados is AWP. Stella so far, certainly not missing Ali. Second frag found, close quarters against Kimbo. Doesn't quite work out to the triple, but Fasher and Roy once again have his back towards side, back towards ramp, and they clean up Big effective.
And the 2 highest rated players for Fnatic in the last 3 months on Vertigo is Nikados and Roy. And look at what they've been able to do towards ramp. Those 2 individuals are playing off one another. They're getting trade frags between each other. And even Fasher, the rotate out from the elevators, is just able to deny any further presence aggressively up there from Ali. A slow start here from Big. And again, first time we're seeing it. We saw it in the group stage, but we didn't see it as a map pick in a best of 3.
The way the veto could have gone. The one if there was another option for Big. Obviously, they mentioned on the desk for Fnatic have a veto advantage by quite the mile. Big going towards this one. Fnatic currently leading by the 5 rounds that they do. You have to wonder if this was the right call to make. It doesn't matter for this round right now. They're in the thick of it. And Quito is taking Roy. Nikados quick to respond back at the sandbags. A quick headshot on that AWP. I wouldn't be surprised if he got more here.
And now it's just time stalling. The longer he waits out here towards the sandbags, the more of a chance Fasher has of backing him up.
Swing alongside Mezzi does get picked up by Quito. Fasher with a responsive. That AWP still not escaping. Got the flashes in from the CT forces. Gives Fasher a lineup, and Nikados is second. and Fnatic the half for 8-2.
Fasha's doing very well out here towards the top ramp control. And remember, when he was back on his previous iteration, when he was out there on Lingby Vikings and Ecstatic, Vertigo was always the pioneered map. That was one of the maps in the pool that the Danes always loved playing. Very comfortable out on ramp, a very strong rifler, a very smart player. 10 kills and 4 deaths for him.
6 to make up still for Big, only pistols pulled out. Imagine there might be a tactical when the next set of rifles come in. Big, the best they're looking at right now is potentially a 6-9 half. Fnatic, surely this is a freebie for them.
Got to imagine so. And Fnatic have proved themselves to have some very strong CT halves. I think back about the one against Astralis in the best of 1, the 14-1 against Astralis on Mirage in the best of 3 and 11-4. They've proved in this event already that they can have mass leads.
Big will be looking for the steal. Found one already here on T side. Lesser weapons to play with this time. The flashes go over and 4 players are stacked up. The nades come in and Mezzi does find an angle to play with.
Out towards Quad, just has to keep fighting, get that support in. Big have just got to keep committing.
Making it look easy with these guns against these pistols. Big don't stand a chance here. Fnatic will find their freebie, will find their 9th. Crimbo just trying to look to make any sort of expense happen, but 4 points of damage done in that round to Fnatic. They are looking lights out once again, and we've seen this before. We saw it yesterday against Astralis.
I think back to that last head-to-head that we saw, even Mezzi, think about this actually for a moment. We're very familiar with him, Jay.
Yep. Remember casting him back in Dog Gaming years.
Well, this is his first time that we've actually seen him play on a grand final at an international LAN event. He's only played at UK events. The last time he was playing with a crowd was I-65 with Vex. I know you remember that one, Jay.
Casted that final. From the humble beginnings of BYOC to here on his grandest stage yet and his first stage with Fnatic as an IGL. His first grand final, of course, in that context. An opportunity to do major work right here. And so far, he's been doing a great job. Not individually, but you can't argue with the scoreline, 9-2.
I think it's been very rock solid out towards the B site. You've got to remember how many times Fnatic have been able to aggress themselves and play up towards the A pressure. Mezzi's been the B anchor out towards Quad in the multiple rounds we've seen from him yet. Roy and Nikodos always on the front foot here towards the Tarps.
Molly sent, Roy wrapping in, Keto dived away past the smoke. Roy unawares of how close they really are, but they'll start to hit that utility. Try and catch off Taps, and he'll get him. Keto does counter dink back. Advantage still sits with Fnatic, and finally that trade will come in with Mezzi taking further damage. Nikodos might get pressured here. Still looks in for Keto, and Keto finds the pick.
Even on low HP, he feels like he's got a moment there to start slightly over-peaking. And Fasha, he can start relaying over. Well, they haven't actually acted. Now, while that's happening, look at what Mezzi's done. He's taken that counter-action of aggressing down from B. This means both of the A players, Fasha and Pepzor, can play together.
Holding his position backed up. Fasha making his move in. Sin right there, catches the casualty. Pepzor's very close, though. Could still find these trades. Fnatic might give him another good fight here. Sin is going to get picked up. Pepzor taking a bit of damage back to return. But a 2-on-2 scenario is gained. And Mezzi continues his hunt.
And now it's the patience game. Crimbo trying to see if he can clear up as much of that site as possible, give him an angle onto the likes of Pepzor and win exactly that.
Now, how does Mezzi win this clutch if he does win it at all? Bomb goes down. Of course it would do. And he's made no noise here. They don't know he's coming in from the back.
He's got to try and have some trigger discipline, try and isolate both of these players individually, and get up towards Ali and deal with the first.
Keto doesn't even let him go that far. Decent dink, but a 2K. Low HP for Keto, but he's alive, and that's the most important thing. Bringing in that third round for Big. Got 3 more to find in this half as well.
And some breathing room for them. I think back to their map pick of what happened on Nuke on the T side, and one of the things that we did see from them was a lot of individual rounds, not being able to follow up, not being able to provide streaks. Now, as of right now, in the 3 that we've seen, we haven't had that bridge. And this is their chance to start putting a foothold down on the economy state, because at least for Fnatic, you've got some players that are low, but some that can still buy.
Flashes forward to the smokes, taps in. Straight up with that AK, M4's in. Nikodos finds that opening pick once again. Being tagged up behind the smokestone, finding a gap to play with. Tabson is low. Nikodos also tagged, but he has Fasher right behind him and all. AWP scope in, and Sin's just not ready for it. Fnatic with staggered aggression, getting ahead of that smoke and just ripping them apart again. It's another 5-on-2.
And Nikodos looking for more. Waiting for that impact to just continue to rain out. And remember what happened yesterday against Astralis. Think about that first half of Mirage, the first map of the series. What did we see? Aggression towards A-Ramp, aggression towards Connector, aggression towards Palace. On the CT side, they were positive. They were looking for fights. They were always on the front foot. And that's exactly what they're doing here again on Vertigo.
60 seconds remaining. Crimbo trying to prod forward. The flashes are going over. Roy's M4 trying to spot for them. Crimbo leaning up. Does see him, but Roy backs off.
And for Big, they've just got to be able to try and siphon and punish any of these over-peekers. Roy to peek right back into the angle. Crimbo does catch him.
HP advantage always going to favour Big there. Smoke in towards the elevators, indicating they're going to go towards that B site. You've got one player that's trying to counter aggress. Molotov sent to try driving away from corners. It was Crimbo about to challenge one close. Fasher sees him, gets that kill. And Farven almost getting tapped up through the smoke himself. 20 seconds left, bomb is on his back. He's trying to try and counter backstab the B site. But they're good for at least one trade. Pepsor will fall. 13 seconds now, and there's Mezzi with that trade, with that response. Double digits for Fnatic on the CT side.
Now Fasher doing so much work to cancel any of that split back towards the elevators. It's been 5 years since he's been at a grand final at an international LAN. All the way back in the ESL Premiership autumn of 2017 with Endpoint, in fact, playing with the Brits.
Played with them during the ELISA Invitationals in the past as well. Defined by the grassroots for him. Fnatic. Of course, a major part of this rebuild stage for them. Bringing up those talents, molding them, turning them into what they're being today. HE sent down, of course, the plays from Nikodos, as you would expect here, rocking the AWP, holding out Ramp.
The Big could be a little bit quicker this time around with the util pop, trying to get into mid and into B quick.
Incendiary's held back, Fasher swinging, does not quite find vision. HEs are sent, Crimbo takes some damage, and the utility does tag up on Crimbo, who does force out a decent fight back at CT. That's a start for Big.
But actually slow it down towards a mid control and start lurking their way up towards the top of the B stairs. And Big try and cancel and try and see if they can bait a reaction. You've got a lurk still down from Keto towards a lower bomb site. You've got the likes of Keto even waiting to see if he can cut a rotate off Roy, thinking about a re-extension towards CT.
Dem4 trying to find an angle to play with. Of course, they didn't get that gun back on the T side, so they're still rocking the Tech 9s and Deagles. Working their way around towards the B play. You see Pepzor trying to take position alongside Mezzi, holding the mid control from Scaff. Also got Roy over on that B side. A dominated by Nikodos' orb, will just get that first shot, fall back for the rotations.
Mezzi being able to spam up the first, and Pepzor, does this get cleared?
Not quite, not against Farven. Crimbo falling. Trade's a bit awkward from Pepzor. He misses out that spray, and Sin comes up with 2, but only 2. It's Keto versus 2, and needs to get the 2 headshots immediately on this Deagle. Sees that one player of Roy. Bomb will just about go down as Roy does not swing for the challenge. Shot's not connected to the headshots either. Fnatic continue to romp big here on CT side.
And even when you consider their CT percent when it comes to the round win in the last 3 months, Jay, is under 60%. It's not a massive marker. It's not like we're talking about overpass as an example. So the idea that they've done this in the first half, that you're up 11-3, that's a huge scoreline.
Very much hoping that Big have a good CT side here, because they might need it. God B looking so frustrated as well. They've tried so much here on Big. They've tried a lot of different tactics and strategies, but they haven't really worked against Fnatic. The firepower has definitely been there.
They haven't got much out of Tabson. I mean, think about the idea that he's the second highest rated player in the event. He's got 2 kills.
To see him unlocked. Again, they mentioned it on the desk, potentially 5-star players for Fnatic, only 1 for Big at the moment. Farven engaging with that AK. Pepzor flashed forward, caught off. Aggression finally punished on Big.
And nicely done, but while that's happening, you can see the way that Fnatic are trying to put some more pace and pressure down towards A. Fasher repositioning in mid.
Get towards the sandbags, the utility gets thrown over, none to go to his position, flashbang, evaded, Tabson gets another good kill, Farven also following suit. It's a little bit better for Big. A confident round coming in a little bit too late for my money. But it should be a fourth, at least to give a bit more buffer in the second half.
It's a good way to end off the half. You can be happy about that. And it starts with that opening kill down there towards the bottom of the B stairs, and then just a mid-challenge. Roy and Nikodos, the Danes, try and retake a 2v5.
You have seen Fnatic battle back from major man disadvantages. This one might be a bit too far gone, though. Only Tabson really the low HP player of the T side. Facing from Roy, hyper-aggressive Nikodos, who's trying to set up utility and just not even going to get given a chance to do so. Deagle up in mid, catches one, no more than that. 11-4 for Fnatic.
And for Fnatic, this is exactly where you want to be, the breathing room of a very solid first half.
Well, Big might not be Danish, but they will be praying for Zonic's Law to apply in the second half after the break.
We have a solution for you.
Red Bull gives you wings.
This stage, Big need to find a hero and they need to find it quick. For my money, my mind turns to Crimbo right now. Top fragger of the board, not the most likely hero for the Big side, but right now he's the only man that's keeping pace.
He stepped up to the challenge, and to know that he has never played on a grand final at an international LAN before, the best he was able to do was that semi-final at IEM Dallas this year. That's the highest he's been able to go. This is his 101st map on LAN, and he's been keeping them in the game, even if it's ever so slightly.
Certainly he might be one player to watch out for. Keto is only 2 frags behind him. Again, my big concern has got to be Tabson. Only 4 picks as of right now here. It's his 10th international LAN for him. He has that experience to bolster himself and be a great individual player. I understand that he's obviously doing many other things inside the server and inside the comms. But that individuality has allowed Big to get as far as they have right now. They need to see it now in the pistol especially. Fnatic wrapping the corner. Mezzi scored 2 frags already. Pepsol jumps the corner. And Keto doesn't stand a chance against 3.
Well, that's one way to wake up as we go back into the game. And Crimbo to try and deny any accountability of the fast split, but it's just not happening. Fasher with another, Crimbo with a couple, but players all around. The USP's trying to get back in, but not to be. My goodness, beat them with pace. Well, boy, was that quick.
Mezzi, man alive, that was sick.
Well, just think about what we saw in the playoffs. Again, I don't think he had the best of performances in the group stage. I think he was the 51st highest rated player. He had 23 kills on Mirage and 28 on Overpass. He found so much form in that series yesterday.
He's formed up here for the pistol basis. Fnatic, an important one to take as well. Big going harsh eco to get the guns out early. Need them at this stage. Fnatic are already closing in on the win on Vertigo. Again, Big picked this map. trying to stack their way in towards Ali. Nicolas might get caught off guard. Roy's at least in for a decent trade. Mezzi going to follow suit, so no advantage gained by the CT Forces. They almost get Mezzi. He stays alive alongside Roy's support. And Keto, AK in hand, he's all alone.
That's a decent effort. Again, you don't have anything in that round. You stack up. You only find 1 kill, so slightly underwhelming when we think about how much damage has actually been done in the round. But for Fnatic, you can almost taste the victory from this point onwards. You are getting so close to one of the most one-sided map wins that we are going to see this entire playoff bracket so far.
Here's Keto's taking names with him. Frag found out to Elevator, rotation coming in from Roy. He's low HP here towards the B site. Might go for another good fight. The bomb, however, is going down towards that A site. The flashbangs, of course, will be heard, and Keto will be aware that no one's here towards B, but will not opt to act towards the A site, at least not initially. Again, just looking for exits. He wants the AK above all else.
It'd be a tiny little upgrade to bring forward into the next round. And Fnatic, though, their main focus is going to be that rifle coming out on top and coming closer to 16. And just knowing that Vertigo, again, 5 wins, 1 loss. You look at it from the track record of Fnatic and you can understand why we're seeing this. You can understand why they're putting on a good performance and they're putting on a good show.
Number 13. Unlucky for some, not for Fnatic right now. It's 9 rounds in the lead. Big had a couple opportunities to start bringing this game back, but none of them have been successful so far. And that is very concerning.
Yeah, I've got something for you here, Jay. tabseN was quiet versus Fnatic in the last head-to-head. He was actually the lowest rated player in the server. Is that something that we need to consider here? The idea that in this event, he's been fantastic, he's been stellar, but the last time at the Major when they played one another, he was absent.
He's absent again right here and now. Again, bottom of the board. Key player to remove from the server as well. Fnatic. Currently looking like they can't be stopped, and Big not showing any signs of changing that at this stage. Molly set for Roy, very nice below the floor Molotov. That does do damage, does force them back. They continue their progress up ramp.
Now you've got both tabseN and Keto to play off one another. Now there's not much of an info play as of right now from Big. Keto's going to start to slowly maneuver forward.
Ever so carefully. tabseN with the smoke, Mezzi. Little hell, Keto gets that one frag. Pepzor so quick to respond, and tabseN doesn't know where to look, doesn't know where they're coming in from. Needs that backup pretty quick here. Molly sent, re-smokes back on, flashes will come forward, and they'll force Big back.
And now it's just about getting the bomb down. Mezzi even looking up towards that headshot position. Sin's taking a lot of damage.
And so is tabseN to the blind sprays. He's still in the middle of the bomb site though. Can he deny the bomb plant here? He might well do so. They're right up against each other. Player on the default position. Indeed, Pepzor will fall towards tabseN. That's massive for Big.
And Fash is going to try and get it down again. Do they deny for a second time?
Plant on. No HEs, no close range positions. Flashbangs will come over for tabseN, trying to enable his teammates to get in, and Sin is going to drop. Back to evens will go, and Fasher is so blinded, but they can't capitalize upon it. M4 picked up, swing back to Farben. Crimbo comes up to a 2-on-2. Mezzi now standing alone as Nicolas goes dropping, but so is tabseN. A 1-on-1 against 2 key elements of both sides. Tapped once, tabseN hunting for the pick back, but Mezzi catches him looking the wrong way, and Fnatic keep the hype train running.
And notice what Fnatic did there. The idea that Mezzi does not peek with Nicolas means that from tabseN's POV, he thinks he's out towards Ali, maybe down there at the bottom of ramp, because if you're in that position, you always peek together. You play as a unit. That's a wonderful bait being brought forward. Mezzi not peeking with his teammate. Nicolas even coming through with a kill, and it comes down to Mezzi to end the round, 14-4. The same scoreline that Astralis had that still went to OT. Do you believe that to be the case?
It's a very different team on the back foot here for Big. 10 rounds to make up. Still seeing no signs of their main stars, Farben and Sin, tailing behind tabseN as well. I am very concerned at what this means for the rest of the series.
And just knowing how much of a beast both tabseN and Farben was in that series against Sprout, bringing consistency across all maps in the pool. But for Fnatic, they've come through with a game plan and they've executed it to perfection. And again, they spoke about it on the desk, the way that you've got 5 sound players that could just work off one another. We don't have a kill leader that's spreading by a country mile. It's very tight. And so is that shot from Fasha.
Roy can follow suit on Sin as well. Advantage Fnatic so easily gained. Big showing no resistance. Keto finally gets one back on that 5-7. Nikonos also falls to Farvan's M4. This is starting to stand up here a bit for Big. 3-on-3 scenario. Farvan up close and personal, but runs into Pepzor's spray. Loses life alongside Tabson. And Keto and AK has been picked up. But 9 HP to clutch a 1-on-3. And at this scoreline, maybe he has to go for it here.
I think you have to save, to be honest. I mean, 9 points of health, what are you working with? It's so limited. And even for Pepzor, I think he's been quite limited in this map. We haven't seen much from him. That round's vital, though. It's a 3v3. You're up against an eco. It's getting slightly out of control. And it gets you out of trouble. It gets you those couple of kills that open up the bomb site.
A 15th for Fnatic. Map points on Big's map pick. 11 of them to play with for the international team. And well, I imagine there'll be stern words with God being backstage with the big playing area. This has not been their day, Gleg. They fought so hard to get here. Had some one-sided maps above 500. Of course, went toe-to-toe with Sprout yesterday. Did so much great work in spite of the situation with the stand-in. It's not deterred Big's fans tonight. They're going to need your support from here on out with this comeback, possibly with maps 2 and 3 if they have to go there. What are you saying, man?
Well, we've seen these faces before, haven't we? Fnatic lost to Copenhagen Flames, Roy and Nikonos were there. And then look what happens. They join up, they come together. Roy and Nikonos are familiar with playing in grand finals in ELISA events. Unsuccessful in the past. But I tell you, Jay, this is a very different look for them. 15-4.
Keep it going, they're going to need it. 11 rounds to make up for Big. They at least have the gun by here. It's a basis to work from, and Keto does find Roy. Had to start out from ramp. Mezzi sneaking in at top. Sin gets Pepzor. Mezzi stuck behind them, though. 5-on-3. Sin is traded back by Fasha. This round is not over yet, especially if Keto doesn't win this fight, which he doesn't to Mezzi, even up at 3-all.
And now they can start putting some pressure back onto Tabson. Has to relocate, get out towards a crane. Even Fasha starts retreating. And while that's happening, you start thinking, where can Farfan and Crimbo start to act? It's going to be in from behind.
I think they're aware of that backstab. You saw the one player of the T side looking towards that connected position. Tabson's backed away. M4 holding the side, but Farvan quickly closing in the backstab pincers. Mezzi's going to watch for it. No, he's not. Niko's going to get caught. Farvan with an all-important kill. Back to the advantage of Big here.
And that's going to send them up towards A. They need to try and put some pressure and try to get this bomb down.
Flash is sent ahead of the smokes. Fnatic trying to slow things down, trying to force some uncomfortability out of Big as Mezzi wins an important fight against Farvan. That's 2 for him in this round. Crimbo, they're aware of his position. They're tapping through that smoke. They haven't seen him, though. They'll check that corner. Mezzi wins the fight and everything. And now it's all on Tabson here. Backed up at the A site, seeing Fasha. Fasha saw him the same. But that bomb's for press back here in the corner. It might have to commit to A.
They've got so much time. They can work together. Tabson's got to deal with both players.
Starting to swing. Sees one, but Mezzi domes him in with the headshot. And that is the most one-sided map we've seen here on the stage. Fnatic taking it on Vertigo 16-4.
And Mezzi, my goodness, 23-9 in that first map against Astralis yesterday. He goes 22-8 today. 2 fantastic maps for map number 1 in best of 3 to Mezzi.
What a statement to send as well in the grand finals. Fnatic was saying, I mean, Keto was saying to HLTV yesterday, we're looking to build for the future. We're looking for trophies in a few months from now. Not here today, right? They know the rebuild process is what they have to focus on the most, but this is looking like a trophy already to me.
and they've put themselves in a grand position. And moving forward into map 2, over past their bread and butter, a map that we've seen them be so consistent on in this event, a map that they've been so consistent on in the last few months, they've got so many positives going their way.
It truly has been just a stellar performance right there from the Fnatic side. And for Big, it's got to be back to the drawing board. It's got to go right back into that playing room. Gobby's got to get involved and give them the mentality they need to bring this one back, because they are truly on the brink of demise so effectively in the grand finals as well. For now, it's down to Heku and one of the boys.
Fnatic already have one win in their pocket, one more, and they'll be the champions here on the big stage. But Messi, we were kind of surprised when it comes to the veto. We saw that Big decided to go for Vertigo. Were you as surprised as we?
I think we were pretty surprised. We always knew there was a chance they could pick it, because obviously they're here with a couple of stand-ins. They're maybe not had the most time to prepare and stuff. So we always knew there was a chance they could throw in a curveball with the veto. And obviously it was a map that we didn't expect, but we're always ready for it. And we had the preparation anyway, so we were definitely prepared. It was just obviously a little bit of a curveball, but as you saw from the scoreline, we were definitely ready for the map and confident.
Well, during the second half, the casters mentioned that, you started with an 11-4, and they mentioned the zoning effect, that sometimes can actually have an influence on the whole outcome. Is that something you actually keep an eye on, and okay, guys, we just need to not mess up and we'll be fine, or you don't really care about the score?
Not really. I think for us it's just about having the confidence in our other half, and I think for us it was even though it's 11-4, and obviously if they get the pistol then it can go swing the other way, but for us it was just about to be honest, our T sides usually are the stronger side, so we knew going into that we were very confident, and no matter the scoreline, whether it was 8-7, even if they were 11-4, we knew we would be able to make a comeback either way. So for us, as soon as we got the pistol, we were definitely confident in the buy round. So I think it was just a plus for us that we had a really good CT side.
Well, right now you're going to go for Overpass, which is your map pick, which means that you're going to start on the T side. What is your goal? How many rounds do you need to get to just feel comfortable?
15.
15 rounds on the T side and Overpass. All right, Messi, then good luck getting it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Go on, Messi. Look at him go. 2 games now we've seen him step up beyond belief, but this was a huge team performance at a Fnatic side, and it shows in that incredible scoreline.
Yeah, we talked about it, Messi, who was the lowest rated player in Fnatic, he's now the highest in this map. So they're evening out the rating throughout the tournament, every game. So no, incredible performance from them. There's not much to say. Once we got past 6-7 rounds, it just felt like Fnatic had too much control. The kind of game plan fell apart a little bit for Big. There were some crucial moments, the kind of, they revealed their surprise factor, and then Fnatic just adjusted and played a stable game.
Yeah, again, a lot of this is going to come down to whether or not Fnatic were going to be able to maintain A control. They were able to do so. I think Nikodos was able to kind of set the tone early on, even though he didn't necessarily have to be a massive factor. Again, we talked about how we were expecting Oppers to do better versus a Big that don't actually have Searson with them, and so on and so forth. But he started off, even though he wasn't necessarily the driving force, going further into the match, he set them off at a good pace, basically denied Big from being able to kind of just wandering freely up A ramp and kind of having to take their time, use their utility and so on, which made things very, very comfortable for the likes of Roy, as we saw time and time again.
And Nikodos, right, he came in super confident, saying he wasn't really going to have too much of a trouble in it. Well, none of the whole team did, right? This is a great sign for Fnatic, but for Big, you've got to pick yourselves up mentally after a loss like that. And at least right now, I'm worried about Tabson, because he was the one you're looking as the shining light in individual form.
I think Gob is going to make sure, they keep their confidence. He's going to take the responsibility for this one, make sure the boys are ready. We'd still have a chance. There's 2 maps left to go. So with the experience of Gob, I'm sure the mentality is going to be fine. They threw that curveball. Everyone in the team was aware of that. So, yeah. They just have to keep going. They have a chance that they weren't necessarily, favorites to come into the final from the start. They've made a wonderful tournament so far, and they have picked themselves up in games in the past in this tournament. So.
Yeah, they absolutely have. And again, it's like you said, they knew going into it, Vertigo could be a gamble. It could work out wonderfully for them, or, well, it could end up the way it did. So I think it's going to be easier potentially than having, let's say, like your whole map. If this would have been Dust 2 and they had a similar result, then I think it's going to be harder to kind of mentally reset yourself and get ready for Overpass. But with the way things kind of panned out in the veto, it's like, yeah, we tried. All right, let's just focus in on Overpass. We have been able to win it in this tournament on multiple occasions, and they should be quite familiar with the map, honestly, with this 5 as well at this point.
When it comes to Mezzi, though, right, looking at him as the now a couple of games individually stepping up, I think it was Dweg that said he was like super low down on the overall ratings coming through the group stage. Playoff Mezzi looks like a different beast, and remember, he wasn't an IGL originally.
No, and it's a really, really difficult transition to make, especially as young as Messi is and the kind of roles that they've had. So he's definitely picked up. I'm sure that Keita and you know, all the experienced guys like Roy and Crims have helped him you know, along the line to kind of develop that and give tips from previous in-game leaders that they've played with, how they approach the game and thought about certain situations and utilize these kind of calling patterns. So. This is the Messi, you know, when he's relaxed. Maybe he didn't have to do that much calling today. He just had to focus on the crosshair.
It's like, go to your positions and we'll take it from there.
Yeah. And that was a 1.83 rating with those kind of stats. Huge AGR up there as well. Individually fantastic. So I think we should head to a break, boys. Keep this moving and get ourselves ready for the second map. It's Overpass coming up. Big have certainly played a couple of times throughout this tournament. But this could be the end of the road for them unless they can bounce back.